Welcome back to 755 is Real. I'm David O'Brien, Braves writer for The Athletic, and I'm with my co-host Eric O'Flaherty, former Braves reliever. What's going on, Eric?
Nothing. Well, a lot, but nothing with me.
Man, let's just throw out what we were going to talk about. Start with the Braves had just a terrific series against the Mets, and last night's win, I thought, really, they made a statement in this series after losing 4 out of 5 in New York less than, 2 weeks ago. I really thought they bounced back exactly the way they needed to do. They won the rest of that road trip. I think they swept the rest of that trip after the Mets, and then they come home and did exactly what they needed to do against the Mets. And now they got the Astros coming in, so it doesn't get any easier. You got McCullers tonight. It doesn't get any easier, but that was a hell of a series for the Braves, and they got it back within 3.5. And got a huge outing from Max Fried last night after being off for 12 days. I thought that was impressive. No rehab, no sim game or whatever that I know of. He just went out and pitched after 12 days.
He's different. He's one of those guys that I don't know if he's completely cemented the name yet, but he should have with the World Series last year. But he's just a big game guy. I don't worry about him. I feel better about him the more pressure there is.
No doubt. And he was matched up with deGrom head-to-head and outpitched him or went toe-to-toe. The stat line says he outpitched him. deGrom, the last run against deGrom was after he came out of the game, but it's obviously his. So, technically, if you want to go just more stats, he outpitched deGrom. And deGrom right now is the best pitcher in the majors probably. So, the Braves, by the way, in the last 2 years, he's made 19 starts. The Braves are the only team that's got 3 earned runs against him. They've done it twice.
It was I was watching that ball Riley hit on the slider. That slider that Riley just smoked up the middle.
Yeah.
That's a foreign feeling to deGrom.
Yeah.
I was like, I wonder what it'd be like to be so good that you don't know what it feels like to throw your best pitch and it just gets shit on up the middle. But they scoring 3 on deGrom.
Yeah. The 2-out hits and the first 2 were 2-out RBI hits by Dansby and Riley. Dansby had had the double to the gap. He crushed that one too.
Yeah.
And then he gets chased by the kid, 21-year-old Vaughn Grissom singles. That chases him from the game. And they bring in Seth Lugo, which I was a little surprised. They brought in a right-hander to face. But, Harris hits lefties and righties right now. So, he's been hitting opposite field homers off lefties. So, but they bring in Lugo, and he works it, has a great at bat, sneaks that double through the middle of the field and brings in Grissom, who's hustling, running balls out from first base and scores. Wash is sending him all the way. Hell of a game, riveting game. Braves win at 3-2 with that run in the 7th, again on 2 out hits by the freshmen or the rookies. So anyway, you have this great game, you have this great statement, great series from the Braves to get within 3.5, and then you wake up this morning and what does Marcell Ozuna do? I guess to celebrate, they not playing the last 4 days. He went out and got arrested for DUI and booked into Gwinnett County Jail this morning at 4:30. Got out at about 8. And, we said this a year ago when he was arrested on domestic violence charges. Originally included a felony for strangulation, domestic violence against his wife. Dropped, he pleaded, already went to a diversion program where those were dropped to, he already just had the misdemeanor charges left. Those were to be dropped if he met all the requirements of his diversion program after 6 months of probation. I haven't heard yet, but I'm assuming those were dropped because he said in March at spring training that he had finished all the parts of the diversion program. So anyway, we said at the time, I thought, and most other people thought, he'd probably played his last game with the Braves. But after, they could not recoup the money they owed him. And after kind of letting the dust settle in the offseason, they win the World Series. They were able to kind of bring him back without any protest or anything out at the ballpark and kind of slip him in, under the understanding. I'm sure they crossed their fingers that he wouldn't get any more trouble and, hey, could at least provide some pop at the plate, if nothing else. So then he goes out and does this after playing pretty crappy this year. He's lost his DH and left field jobs. He only had him while other people got hurt.
Yeah. He
hit 20 homers this year, but that's all. He's done nothing else productive. He's had some big hits, 20 homers, but he's hit barely. He literally hasn't hit his weight because he's hit about 213, 214. I have to look at it again, but he's OPS in the low 600s. He's just been terrible player since the beginning of last season. You know, but he was really struggling last year before he broke his fingers. Then he goes on the IL, and a few days into the IL stint, he gets arrested. Got suspended the rest of the year. No part in the Braves postseason run. And they bring him back, and he's really done nothing this year except play at the same level he was playing at last year before he got hurt. Braves still owe him $41 million. They have high-powered attorneys. I'm sure they're going to look into ways that maybe, because they couldn't void the contract and not have to pay him after the domestic violence because the union is so strong and they've written all this stuff into the union agreement. I'm sure the Braves have attorneys that are going to look into it. Now it's been 2 arrests. Does that have any effect on their ability to possibly get out from underneath this contract? But bottom line, if I'm the Braves, I'm releasing this guy. And they owe him $41 million, but he just doesn't do enough to warrant keeping him around, whether you have to pay him or not. If he's going to be that much of a black eye on the organization, what does it say to your fans if you run him out there again after one, he had domestic violence charges, which are about as unseemly as you can get in this society these days. And then he gets a drinking while driving charge, which also is very much frowned upon in our society, as it should be. I think they got to cut ties now. I don't see any way that you can justify bringing him back, even if you owe him $41 million. I just can't see it.
I mean, the only way you could justify it if he's hitting 365 with 40 homers. Teams, I can't justify it, but they've been trying to get him right all year.
Right. Or hitting 300 with an 850 OPS and 25 homers, It would still be unseemly, but it would be, at least you'd have a reason. You could say, bottom line, he helps us on the field. We're going to draw fans if we win. He helps us win. But he's not helping you win.
No. You spent the whole year trying to get him right, answering questions why he's in the lineup. You're already at the point in the season where you're talking about how much more patient can we be, or is it time to cut bait? And then this happens. And, the timing of it, too, has got to piss you off because the team couldn't be at a bigger high in the season.
Right.
Just took 3 out of 4 for the Mets, beat deGrom, got a damn ice cream machine, which dudes love. And today should be all about that and getting ready to beat the Astros. And now you got to answer questions about this. And this is going to be the topic today.
Yeah. And in the irony, the cruel irony, whatever you want to call it, of this happening when it did, not just for the factors that you just pointed to, the developments you just pointed to, but they also have Mike Soroka at the other end of this extreme, where if you have unseemly here and unsavory, over there you got this heartwarming story of Mike Soroka coming back from 2 Achilles tendon ruptures, making this terrific start Tuesday, where he surpassed all expectations in that performance against for High A Rome. 8 strikeouts in 4 innings, 1 hit allowed. I mean, beyond what anybody could have imagined, and makes you think there's a real, and we had him on the podcast, and after the podcast we both said, I feel a lot more confident now that he can actually make it back from this, which no pitcher ever has, two Achilles ruptures. But after his performance Tuesday, I really think he's going to make it back.
Yeah.
So you have that going, an announcement that his next rehab start's going to be at AAA on Sunday. You have the Michael Harris extension this week. This great kid, this wonderful kid that everybody loves, terrific athlete. His family's at the press conference, his parents and all this, talking about what a dream come true this is. They signed him to a deal that can go a decade, another a really team friendly deal. So you got that going. Then you got the thing breaking about how they are actually talking to Dansby now about a contract. You beat the Mets in the 3 games out of 4, and then Ozuna goes out and gets arrested at 4 a.m. And he's not played the last 4 games. So what's his response to not playing? Instead of getting in early, doing early work, doing everything he can, showing I'm going to try everything I can to regain what I once had, he's out partying at 4 a.m, man, with the Astros in town today.
That's kind of your, as far as like predicting how the Braves will respond to it, the guys that are busting their ass, and you get the questions during the year, why are they being so patient with so-and-so? Why is this guy still around?
Yeah.
Well, it's because the team's seeing him work. And this is the polar opposite of, I'm sure, as a player, it's frustrating. You see the writing on the wall. You see the team win a big series against the Mets without you. And you've been struggling all year. And it's pretty clear they were like, we can't play you in the series because we want to win this thing. We're trying to get you right all year, but we're going to sit you. And they played better, so you see that.
Grossman's hitting now. Rosario's come around. They got Contreras, to DH and last night they DH'd Rosario. But with Grossman hitting, there's really no good reason to play.
Yeah. And he sees that writing on the wall, and it's like, as a player, you get frustrated and you get pissed off, and there's two ways to respond to it. You could pout and go get drunk, or you can keep busting your ass. But as far as trying to predict how a team will react to it, I mean, they see that, they see him going out and whatever you're doing out at 4 a.m. in Gwinnett, when you probably live in Buckhead or, Sandy Springs.
Sandy Springs. Yeah. Yeah. It ain't good. Whatever you're doing over there, it's not good.
Yeah. And what's open at 4 a.m.?
What are you doing at 4 a.m.? I mean, we can imagine what he's doing at 4 a.m. But it's Thursday night, Friday morning. You just finished your series against your rival. You got another huge series against the hottest team, maybe the best team in baseball, the Astros now, starting tonight. And you're basically saying, I know I haven't played in the last 4 days. And if you're going to play me Friday night, I'm going to be – I was out partying until 4 a.m, just so you know. Or that's when he was booked into jail at 4:39. So I'm assuming he was partying until 3 or so. At least, driving drunk allegedly at 4 a.m. It's just bad, man. It's just an idiotic move. I mean, a lot of us have made mistakes when we were young. Okay. And you pay the consequences for them. And some people, as entertainers and really wealthy people, I feel bad for them sometimes, because for them, the rock bottom doesn't always come because you keep getting paid. You're not pushed into the same corner that a lot of us in normal jobs are pushed into, where we got to straighten up or get fired, or lose a job. For a lot of people, actors, rock stars, entertainers, athletes, whatever, it's harder to realize how bad you've gotten, or that reached that rock bottom, when you're still getting paid. You still got $41 million owed to you, and it's a guaranteed contract. So you're thinking you're impervious, man. It's just a bad situation. It really is. But I just don't see how the Braves can justify bringing it back from this.
Well, I mean, you probably were on the fence of cutting bait anyway.
Right. Probably.
You know?
You're making so much money right now, and you're giving out these contracts, these long-term extensions that are saving you so much money on the back end of these things, the back half of these contracts. You're going to be saving as much money as you're going to have to spend to get rid of him. You're going to be making that in about 2 years off of Michael Harris's contract at the back end. If we're being bottom line here, you're saving that at the back end of his deal is what he probably should be paid at that point. I mean, if we're just talking dollars here, because that's the only reason. Because that's the only reason you can justify keeping Marcell Ozuna is talking dollars. So let's talk dollars. If we're talking bottom line financial hits, think about the money you're saving on all these deals at the back.
Yeah, and. I thought AA had a great quote the other day. He said something along the lines of, you keep selling it out and we'll keep signing these guys. Yeah. And they've been selling out, and they've had, he was just talking about how, I think the Falcons, he said 2 years after they were at the Super Bowl, the stadium was half empty.
And that's what it was a great quote. I asked him about, that was the question I had for him at the press conference. I asked him, Alex, I know how important it is to try to win the World Series this year and next year, but how much, when you do these deals, does the future and remaining having sustained success play into this? And he said, his answer was what you were talking about. He said, I worry about a lot of things in this job, but number one is sustained success. Yes. He has the big picture in mind always, not just winning this year, doing whatever it can to win right now, but also continue winning. And he said it was shortly after taking the job, when he saw Mercedes-Benz half empty for a Falcons game when they had been in the Super Bowl 2 years earlier, that he realized this is a great market, but you got to keep winning.
Yeah.
You can't roll out a crappy team there the 2 years after winning the World Series and expect they're going to still keep coming out like they have. Like they just drew 39,000 each of the last 2 nights on a Wednesday and Thursday with school in session, which you never used to do in Atlanta when school went back. When school started, midweek games were 14 to 20,000, regardless of the opponent. You just drew almost sold out the last 2 nights, came within 1,000 of selling out. on a Wednesday and Thursday night with rain delays and pending rain both nights.
Yeah, now you can't blame, honestly, it's one thing when your weather has, your Dodger Stadium, you got 72 at game time. But if you're winning 79 games a year and expecting to sell out and have people sit in that heat in Atlanta, it's kind of crazy.
Right. Yeah, you got to present a product, and they're doing it, and they're going to do it for a long time with these deals. But anyway, do we have a quick ad to read there, Cam?
Yeah, just real quick from LinkedIn. As you gear up for fall, you need the right people on your team to help your small business fire on all cylinders. LinkedIn Jobs is here to make it easier to find the people you want to talk to faster and for free. You can create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 810 million people. Then you can add the hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring so your network can help you find the right people to bring on board. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience. You can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/real. That's linkedin.com/real, REAL, to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, just real quick on how bad Ozuna has been, not to belabor the point, but in 155 games since the beginning of last season, so basically what would be a full season, because that's about what a guy plays, he is at 214 with a 271 OBP, 381 slugging, 653 OPS, 27 homers, 153 strikeouts, and 603 ABs. Dude, he's got a 76 OPS plus in that span. 100 is the average player in the majors. 100 OPS plus. He's got a 76 OPS plus. That's after posting a 177 OPS plus in the shortened 2020 season when he led the NL in homers and RBIs with 18 and 56 in 60 games, which is why he got that contract in February 21. After the Braves lost out on a couple of other guys, they basically were left, they had to sign Ozuna, to have that bat. They tried to get a couple of the guys and didn't get them. Josh Donaldson went to the Twins, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, they re-signed Ozuna, and it is the one big Alex deal that has not worked out.
Man, I was under the impression he only had one this year and next year left, 2 years.
No. It was a 4-year, $65 million deal, and it was backloaded to make it worse. He's owed $41 million, dude. Mm-hmm. So you'd be eating like what the Mets basically ate when they dumped Cano. But like I said, you just got to do it. I mean, you've got to find a way. And, the thing is, if he was hitting, you could trade him to somebody and pay half the salary. Somebody would take him.
Yeah, when you take him, it's like a reset.
Right.
Now, he did that with the old organization, and it's like you don't bring your baggage somehow.
Right. But when you're trading a below average player statistically and he's also a bad defensive player with a terrible arm, when you're trying to trade him, how are you going to have someone even take $20 million of what he's owed?
Well, that's why they've tried so hard to get him hot.
Right.
Because even if you can just get him hot for 3 months
yeah,
it's always, he made this swing change with Seitzer,
right.
And then you credit that. That's a swing now. And then maybe you get a team to eat $5 million a year for 2 years or, 16 of it.
They have given him every opportunity to. I mean, Snit stuck with him, partly because they had injuries to other people, but Snit gave him every opportunity to win that job back coming out of spring training. Alex gave him every opportunity, so he's had multiple chances now. He's got 2 very big strikes against him. We'll see, I mean, he did it outside the probation. So I don't think legally, he's not going to get deported or anything like that. I don't think he's a citizen. I shouldn't say that, but I don't think he's got a citizen, but he's not going to get deported on DUI alone. And he's outside of the probation. So I think those charges, if he met those diversion parts of the diversion, those charges were dropped. And
you have to pay guys if they lose their visa.
If they get deported? Or lose a work visa? I don't know what that deal. I don't know the
deal on that. But
no, you wouldn't have to pay them because they would be unavailable to play.
Yeah,
that's the only way they would not have had to pay him last year is if he
lost his visa.
if after the suspension was lifted, the administrative leave, if he had lost and been unable to work this year, physically unable to, they would not have had to pay him.
So I could see that happening, not releasing him and hoping for a suspension or not able to get the work visa.
He's probably going to get suspended with pay again, and
it's with pay. Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah. It's a bad deal.
Good union.
Yeah. Good union. But this is, and at these times when it looks bad,
Yeah.
But it's part of it. But the Braves are in a different situation, man. Even they're in a very different situation even than they were a year ago.
Yeah. Well, two more deals.
When they were chasing, the Mets, they weren't selling the place out yet. They had no idea what kind of boom they were going to have in profits, quarterly profits. They didn't know where they were going to be at that time. So eating $53 million or whatever it was at that time was a hard sell. And you didn't know. You thought maybe this guy's is a good enough person. He'll be able to come back from this and be a contributor next year. So as unseemly as it was, at least you could justify it. You could go, okay, it's a big strike against him. We're going to give him a second chance. If he comes back, he's a good citizen and he contributes. This will be forgotten by most and he'll perform. But he's going the opposite direction. And now I don't know how you can justify it. That's 2 strikes. You're going to wait and have a 3rd strike. What's going to happen next time? And here's the other thing. We said before, how bad is it going to look if he gets arrested again for similar charges, domestic violence? It's going to look terrible. Okay, that didn't happen. He got arrested for DUI. God forbid they keep him and something else happens. What would happen if he were to go out? And like I said, God forbid he goes out and gets in a crash while drunk and injures somebody. How bad do the Braves look after a DV, domestic violence charges, and after a DUI? That's what I think has to go into the thinking now. You got to consider those things on how bad you're going to look. He's shown he's capable. I mean, he's obviously didn't learn a lesson, so he's capable of. I just think you got to consider that. I just don't think you can have that in your organization. That time bomb waiting to go off, and it could be far, far worse. Well, if something else happens, how bad you look for keeping it.
Once the guy writing the checks has had enough, once he's just pissed off, they'll look past the finances of it and just not want to deal with it anymore. Because it's,
it's a headache. It's black eyes on the organization, and it's not contributing. All those factors are reasons why I think they've got to release him and do it. Do it now. Don't even wait for the outcome of this thing. It's a DUI. They didn't trump up the charges. I mean. Yeah, DUIs have been trumped up. They're not going to do that with this guy, knowing who he is, pulling him over. They're not going to, there's going to be video of a DUI. They got the test. It's just, unless he comes out and says this absolutely did not happen and fights it, and the Braves have to wait and see. But unless that happens, there's just no reason to wait for this.
And it wasn't at 5:30 in the afternoon after a day game, and he had
after a team function and he had a couple of beers. This is 4 a.m.
Yeah. Which even being out at 4 a.m. while you're struggling is enough to piss the people off. But yeah,
there's no excuses, man. It's bad. Fortunately for the Braves, on the field product, he has not been a factor in them, and I don't think this will affect them whatsoever. They got Grossman playing really well right now. He's hitting. He's changed his stroke. I talked to Sites yesterday about working with him. Day one, he got here, and their analytics people went to him, showed him what they had, comparing his swings, because he's been struggling all year to regain his swing, right?
Yeah.
From the left side. They showed him the difference between his swings in the last 2 years and now. And they've got all this sophisticated stuff, as you know, in analytics. And they got these stick figure things and everything that show biokinetically what he was doing. And it clicked. And he went to work right away on it. And he's getting like immediate results. The last 10 games, he's like just been so much better than he was all year. So now you got this guy. He can hit. He hits the ball hard too, man.
Oh, yeah. Some of those swings he's taking left-handed right now.
Yeah, that's a violent swing.
He's one of those guys that I always thought was kind of an underrated player because he didn't hit for big power.
Yeah.
But I faced him a few times when I was with Oakland. He was with Houston. And it's just those tough at-bats, adding that tough at-bat to your lineup and then get him working with a guy like Seitzer. And, it's amazing. I was talking to some buddies about organizations in general, and there's certain organizations that guys go to and things get worse, and there's other organizations guys go to and they just seem to get better. And if I was saying, if I was running such and such organization and everybody comes here and they get worse, nobody turns their career around here, and you look at other ones, I'm going to start prying and finding out what are these organizations doing. And it's stuff like you're talking about. You have this whole department figuring out, why was Robbie Grossman so productive at certain times in his career and he's not now? Let's find the difference. And with all the technology and different coaches, they're able to do that now. And the Braves are doing a great job of it.
Yeah, I mean, these teams that are really utilizing all the analytics and that have a team of guys in that analytics department upstairs watching this video, they got Grossman knowing, obviously they had watched and thought they could fix him, turn him around.
And coaches willing to work with those guys.
Right. And Sites welcomes that stuff. They come down with the charts and the video and they show Sites and they go, let's go to work with him. And they did from day one. He said, normally we would wait. Sites said, normally we would wait, get to know the guy, get a feel for him. He said, and he told Grossman that. Normally I'd get a feel for you, let you see it, watch you for about 10 days. He goes, but we're trying to win a World Series, get back to the playoffs and win a World Series. We can't waste any time. We got to do this now. So he said, we presented him all this stuff, told him, look at it, digest it, see what you think, tell us what you think, and see what you want to do with it. And said Grossman was all in. He's like, let's do it. And he went to work in the cage, took it to the game, boom, he's getting results.
It's a good sign, just for character, because a lot of guys are,
they
get told this stuff and they're stubborn and won't change. And it's usually
especially
one of two
veterans,
things.
Been around a while.
Yeah, but you hit a point in your career where it's like, if somebody would told me to throw sidearm or underhand or over the top when I'm struggling, you're all ears, because he'd been struggling for most of the year in Detroit, not winning, and all of a sudden you get to go to Atlanta and compete for a World Series. Like, tell me how high to jump.
Yeah. So, it's all positives right now on the field pretty much. I mean, they really rebounded well from that Mets series like we talked about, and they're getting so much good stuff from Grissom. I mean,
that scoring from first.
Go, dude's got wheels. I mean, he's not I don't think he doesn't seem like he's going to be a big base stealer in the majors because he's got long limbs. He's 6'3". Takes him a while to really get going.
Yep.
But once he gets going, he's probably about as fast as anybody on the team from like first to third or first to home, second to home. He gets those strides going, and he, as Snit said, he eats up a lot of yards in a hurry.
And he's playing. It's kind of like that Dansby thing where for me, I feel like his instincts are, as soon as that ball trickled through the infield, he was full speed, thinking about scoring until Wash stopped him, and Wash didn't, and he just kept rolling. It was like he tasted he might have a chance, and he just went for it.
Yeah, and he's not like watching the ball the whole time or hesitating or slowing at second and looking. No. He is committed. He's like, boom.
Yep.
Ball off the bat, he was gone. Never slowed down.
Immediate, instinctual decisions that he makes that I've just noticed on a few plays, balls up the middle, different things, or Deacon Lindor the other day, coming through and acting like he was catching a throw or a ground ball or something. And it just confused Lindor. But it's just this type of stuff that when you're overwhelmed by the big league level, you're just trying to do it right. But his instincts just take over, and he's practiced this stuff in the minors, and he's just playing like it's baseball. He's not overwhelmed at all.
And that's what he said after the game last night. That it's the same game, man.
Yeah.
He seems to be one of those rare guys like Harris who can block out 40,000 people going bonkers, and the music and the chop and just focus and play baseball. And he said, same game. All you got to do is lock in. Got to lock that stuff out.
Going deep his first game. Yeah, it's there was a lot of signs at Fenway that he's going to be one of those guys that just comes up and plays.
Some guys are different, man. There aren't many, but some guys are different. He and Harris are different.
Yeah.
Strider's different.
And their speed, having those two guys, young legs.
Having those two, maker. Acuna, Swanson, all of a sudden half their lineup is like plus speed.
Yeah.
Most teams don't have two guys that are plus speed.
Yeah.
They got some guys that can fly. Yeah. But more importantly, probably. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll talk again. Nothing yet on Ozuna from the team. That could be come at any time. They could announce, within an hour he's been released, or they might not announce anything today other than he's been replaced on the 40-man roster and suspended. Don't know yet, but I don't want to say prediction, but my view is he's got to be released. I don't know if they have to wait until, because of the union, the way it's written, the agreement, if they have to wait for this for some resolution, but I think he'll be immediately suspended if nothing else. But if I'm the Braves, I'm making it known we're done with him. So
yeah. They know what they want to do, but there's a process to it.
Right.
They can't announce.
They got to jump through hoops. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Another big series, really big one for the Braves. And then they got a road trip to Pittsburgh and St. Louis after that. So they need to keep the pedal down, obviously. And because Astros will come in. If you blink against the Astros, you're going to get your ass handed to you because these guys are good, man. Yep. And McCullers was outstanding in his first start back. So you got McCullers against Wright tonight. Wright coming off the little break for arm fatigue or sore arm. Said he felt great in his side session, felt normal again. So this should be a really good matchup tonight, Friday night at the Yard with fireworks afterwards.
Can't wait.
All right, everybody. 7:55 is real. We appreciate you watching us. Thanks, and give us those big thumbs up and all that. However you grade us on there.
See ya.
We're out.